I'm quite sure that in recent memory, the Utah Jazz haven't had a 7-foot big man bring the ball down court and create something in transition. But during Utah's recent win against the Pelicans, 7-foot Lauri Markkanen stole the ball from Zion Williamson and just straight up led the fast break before dishing out the pass to Mike Conley for the bucket. To me, this sort of represents the kind of surprise that the Jazz has given the NBA with their unexpected strong start to the season. As I'm making this video, the Jazz have a 3-1 record, and a huge reason for that is definitely Lauri Markkanen himself, as after 4 games, the big man from Finland is averaging 21.5 points, 8.8 rebounds, and 3 assists, all of which are easily career-high numbers for him. Well, sure, it's a small sample size, and it's very possible that Lauri's numbers would cool down a bit as the season goes on, but I'm actually not even a bit surprised that he's actually put up these kinds of numbers in Utah, as I'm someone who's always been a believer of Markkanen's potential. I even called him a future star in the video I made just after he was traded to the Cavs. Cause I think we shouldn't forget that Markkanen is actually someone who was drafted as the 7th overall pick back in 2017 and who, in his second season alone with the Chicago Bulls, did average a near double-double of 18.7 points and 9 rebounds per game. However, over the past few seasons, due to various reasons such as injuries, the arrival of Nikola Vucevic in Chicago, and most recently, him being given a more supplementary role with the Cavs, Markkanen has actually seen his usage rate consistently drop since his stellar second year, from a very high 25.1 usage down to just 19.5 last season. Another thing is, Lauri is already on his 3rd different team in just his 6th NBA season, and because of this, while he's only 25, a lot of people think that the term now or never actually applies to Markkanen if ever he's going to become an NBA star. But in this video, we'll talk about why this shouldn't be the case and why the Utah Jazz just might have actually landed a potential star in Lauri Markkanen. So what's good everyone, it's Real Balls here, and if you guys happen to enjoy this video, please do me a favor by hitting that like button or by clicking that subscribe button. It only takes a second of your time, but it will be much appreciated. So let's get to it. During the summer, Lauri Markkanen played lights-out basketball for Finland during the 2022 Eurobasket as he led his team to the quarterfinals while averaging 28 points, 8 rebounds, and 2.4 assists on ridiculously good efficiency as well. But I think the most important thing is Lauri was able to put up those numbers while being totally allowed to expand his game on the floor, as he did pretty much everything from being a ball handler, a screen setter, all the way down to becoming a 3-level scorer. Basically, he just did all those things that you would expect a star-level player to do for his team, but entering the brand new NBA season, the question definitely was, can he do such kinds of things as arguably the most talented player in the Utah Jazz roster? The thing is, everyone already knows that Lauri always had the ability to stretch the floor with his 3-point shooting. He entered the NBA already being dubbed as the best outside shooting 7-footer in college basketball history, and Lauri definitely hasn't failed to meet expectations. Entering this NBA season, Markkanen has been an above-average shooter, making 36.2% of his 3-pointers on an average of 6 attempts per game for his entire career. But obviously, a guy who was drafted 7th overall can't just be a shooter, so the expectation was in the NBA, he was somehow going to be able to utilize his 7-foot frame more inside the paint. And the truth is, Lauri's actually been a decent scorer around the rim, as entering the season, he shot almost 66% from within 3 feet of the basket for his career. The problem is, only 25% of his total shot attempts came from that area. This wouldn't have been a problem had he been able to display his ability to create shots from the mid-range. However, entering the season, only 11.6% of his attempts have come from within 10 to 20 feet of the basket as well. To put it simply, Markkanen has been either launching shots from deep or trying to get to the basket, which to be honest, are actually shots that are considered to be analytically driven and efficient attempts in the NBA. But again, the thing is, Lauri hasn't had the chance to consistently create those kinds of shots for himself either, as entering the season, 64.9% of his career 2-point field goals and a whopping 99.2% of his career 3-pointers have been assisted by teammates. And this kind of shot profile is definitely not the kind you want to see from someone with future star trajectory. But I think you just can't completely blame Markkanen for this, as he wasn't really empowered to create shots for himself, especially during the past few seasons while playing alongside high usage and ball dominant players such as Zach LaVine and Darius Garland. And sure, Sure, Lauri's not the quickest big man out there, but I think he's still got pretty good driving speed and reasonable bounce for a 7-footer, and though he can't get to the rim without a clear driving lane most of the time, he's still got the ability to put the ball on the floor before manufacturing shots either from the low block or the mid-range. But the good thing is, now in a Utah team which doesn't have a clear-cut all-star, we can actually see more of what Lauri can do when he's not limited to just a couple of dribbles in one possession. Here, watch Lauri with a quick hesitation before he attacks MPJ off the dribble. You can see how he catches his man off guard with a spin before he hits the hook shot over the top. Here, watch how he torches Gobert in isolation. Lauri drives and puts his head down, then you see the quick pivot and the high release as he hits the 12-foot fadeaway shot. Here, as Sexton attacks, you see Lauri pop out to the 3-point line and quickly attack Herb Jones out of the closeout, but with a help defense coming, he stops and easily drains the 10-foot jumper. Then here, watch what he does as a pick-and-roll ball handler. His defender makes the mistake of going under the screen just for a bit, and Lauri makes him pay by launching the 3-pointer against the late contest. Overall, the numbers also reflect his newfound role in Utah, as Lauri is currently averaging almost 10 2-point attempts and almost 8 3-point attempts per game, which as of now are both career highs for him. This is a huge reason why Markkanen's leading the team in scoring at almost 22 points per game. But what's actually interesting about this is that Lauri is scoring this much while he's not even leading the Jazz in terms of usage rate, as he only ranks 3rd in the team behind Collin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson. Also, out of all 37 players who are currently averaging at least 20 points per game in the NBA, Lauri's 24.0 usage rate is actually the 3rd lowest, just ahead of Andrew Wiggins and Tyrese Maxey. To me, this illustrates just how much Markkanen is also capable of scoring without regularly having the ball in his hands or without having to get to the free throw line as much. And playing alongside capable playmakers such as Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson with him in the starting lineup, it's no surprise that Lauri has also been able to thrive not only as a spot-up shooter, but also as a screen-and-roll guy or as a baseline cutter. Here, watch the two-man pick-and-roll game with Conley. Conley dishes out the well-timed pass as Lauri slips past D'Angelo Russell before he takes off from 10 feet, putting Rudy Gobert in a poster. Then here, as Conley initiates the offense, he attacks his man, but on the slightest hint of help, he dishes out the dime to the cutting Markkanen for the easy finish around the basket. Overall, the Jazz are currently averaging the 2nd most assists in the NBA at 29.5 per contest, which is a testament to their ball movement heavy offense, so I'm definitely expecting Lauri to continue thriving while utilizing those off-ball looks even more throughout the year. But another thing I'm really liking with Lauri's game with the Jazz is his current rebounding numbers, because over the past 4 seasons, among all players listed as either centers or power forwards, Lauri's 11.4 rebounding percentage has actually been the 3rd lowest in the entire NBA, only behind Robin Lopez and Robert Covington. But more than due to any inability to grab boards, I think this is a result of Lauri being often parked in the perimeter on defense over the past couple of seasons, which typically left him out of position to grab rebounds. But now in Utah, playing alongside front court partners in the starting lineup such as Kelly Olynyk and Jared Vanderbilt, both of whom are also capable perimeter defenders, Lauri has been quite in a good position to grab boards, as he's often been deployed as more of a weak side help defender in the paint. I think this explains why Lauri is averaging a career high in rebounds per game and why he currently has a 13.2 rebounding percentage, which is the highest mark of his career since his 2nd NBA season. And though it's very early in the season, I think you can pretty much expect Lauri to be a double-double machine in Utah, considering he already has 2 of those after the Jazz's first 4 games of the year. Well, some people might call Lauri as someone who's putting up good stats in a bad team, but I think it doesn't really matter. Even if the Jazz are in the midst of a rebuild, if Lauri continues to play this good, I think he could really turn himself into a long-term part of what's about to come in Utah, especially if he's able to stay healthy. And I'm actually quite optimistic that Lauri's game should age quite well, because while he does have considerable bounce, he's not typically trying to overuse it, and his game is not at all reliant on athleticism. So I think a decade of being a reliable floor spacing big man should at least be the worst possible outcome for him. But more importantly for Utah, Lauri is only on the 2nd year of a 4-year $67.5 million deal. Looking at it, he's basically paid like a middle tier starter, which is definitely good value for the Jazz. But if history is any indication, Markkanen definitely views himself to be more than that. If you remember, he and the Chicago Bulls were unable to reach a new extension because Lauri was reportedly asking for around $20 million per year and the Bulls were weren't comfortable with that, which is why the sign and trade with Cleveland happened. And with the Cavs, Lauri had more team success, but it came at the expense of him playing a much lesser role while also playing out of his natural position. But for once, now that he's in Utah as the best player in the team, Lauri is practically set up to be a star, and more importantly, he now has a chance to break out of the status quo, which is a chance he hasn't had since his second NBA season. So, do you believe that Lauri Markkanen will become a star for the Utah Jazz? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing as well. Again, this is Rero Balls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.